Hello friends, and welcome to The Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, you may be wondering what the heck I'm doing and where the heck I am. Friends, in editing this video, I realized it would be better to be done in two parts. So that's what I've done. I've split this in half, and this is the beginning of part 2. So if you haven't seen part 1, I recommend you go and watch that first and then come back here. I'll put a link to part 1 up above me. So go click on that link and go watch that. Or if you've seen that, just continue watching. We'll begin part 2 right now. Here we go. In the astral triangle, we had starting with 7 on the father pillar, which is Netzach. We had the 7 of swords. We move into Hod at the placement 8 on the mother pillar, which is the hanged man. Now, maybe it didn't look like the hanged man to you, but that is the hanged man. And then we move down to Yesod, which is the 10 of swords. Another 10, right? We had 10 in Geberat for strength and severity. And here in foundation, we have the 10 of swords. Again with the Taurus, again with the Venus. Yeah? Just saying, these cards do not have associations printed on them. But I'm going to be reading this deck the same way I read this deck, just so you know, because there are a lot of overlaps. They're very different, especially the pips are very different. And no, the associations are not printed on here. But because nothing is printed on here, I needed to make a decision of how I'm going to read these cards. Am I going to read them like a pip deck of a different system? Am I going to keep the system of the Brotherhood of Light and C.C. Zane? And I decided to go with that. Now I'm going to keep with the Egyptian Tarot system, which starts with the Comte de Saint-Germain in, never mind. Still, I'm keeping within that system, just so you know. And so we start with this beautiful card of the 7 of swords. And you see 7 swords. There are 3 at the bottom, 4 at the top, which is very different from a lot of the other tarot decks. And on top of it, do you see the Ankh? Yeah, the Ankh between the swords at the top. That's interesting. That's a symbol, right? But that's as far as we're going to go. Although that Ankh, what does it remind you of? To me, it reminds me of Venus a little bit. A lot, actually. So, the association, though, for this is not Taurus and is not Venus. It is, however, Virgo. Virgo, yeah? The 7 of swords points to the Virgo decade of Virgo. Yeah, the first decade of Virgo. Each sign has 3 decades, 3 groups of 10 degrees, right? And the first one is the same sign as the master sign, the sign of all 30 degrees. So this is the first domicile of the sign of Virgo, which is Virgo. So the Virgo decade of Virgo, and its subruler, Mercury, which is the planet of the sign, from which the mutable aspect of mutable Earth's vital attributes enter our world. Yeah, mutable Earth, supersized mutable Earth is entering our world, entering our natal charts, and entering the question that we've asked of the Tarot. So here we have, again, the 7 of swords. What does it mean according to C.C. Zane and the Brotherhood of Light? Well, it's things like achievement, progress which follows a conflict, victory by hard work. Now, we got hard work in Taurus just a little while ago, right? And this is the victory spot, right? This is the victory Sephiroth. So the victory comes from hard work, comes from achievement, comes from positive feelings, and positive thinking, which allows for that achievement. and ultimate gain through keeping responsible. So there's a lot of responsibility on that father pillar here, which we'll get to in a little bit. Finding solace in services here. Positiveness weeds out negative thoughts. Now we keep our positive thoughts and they push out the negative ones. Converting weakness into strength. That's a recipe for victory, right? Also, faith overcoming physical afflictions, which is interesting. So if we've got anything that we find being a problem for us in this physical world, our faith will gain us our victory. So what's going to give us our victory here? Things like, what did I say? I said, he positive mindsets, yeah, fulfilling responsibilities, doing the work, putting our energy into the tasks at hand. That, in this card, that's going to give us the achievement that we want, or the victory. Very simple read. But did you also notice that this was what? This was the 7 of Swords. Which number was this Sephiroth? It was number 7. So this card also frankly made me laugh. Right after the 6 being the lovers, or the 2 paths cards in Sephiroth 6, in the 7th Sephiroth, we had the 7 of Swords. You can't make this shit up. Okay, so here we go, the 7 of Swords. So, moving right into splendor and glory. Who wouldn't want those? In Hod. Here for splendor and glory, we have the hanged man. And here, it's not a man hanging, is it? What do we see? We see a man looking like a man holding up a knife, and there's a cow on what looks like it could be an altar. So really, we've got the idea of sacrifice in this card. And this is very different from the cards produced by the Brotherhood of Light. So this is one of the few major arcana cards which is different, very different. But still, the Hanged Man here points to Pisces, which is the domicile of Jupiter, from which these mutable waters' vital attributes enter our world. You know, mutable water. We had the fixed water of Scorpio. Here we've got Pisces, my moon sign. Pisces, mutable waters, which are cleaning things up and getting ready to move on. Move on to Aries, yeah? Let's get our emotions cleaned up. Let's get our crap together so that we can start a new journey in the new zodiacal year. And being this card number 12, being card number 12 in the major arcana, it points to Lamed, the Hebrew letter Lamed, which is an ox, or an ox goad, I mean. The thing that helps us to get the ox moving forward. It could also be learning and teaching the knowledge we can gain from that. That's very splendiferous, yeah, glorious. Now for the runes, we have Jera. Jera is the rune for is the 12th rune, which gives us things like harvest, reward, harmony, but also sacrifice or expiation, which makes sense for this image particularly. And forgiving your enemies. Interesting thing for splendor and glory. What is that teaching us for this particular spread, though, for splendor and glory? Well, this could be the stirring of creative urges according to the books for the Egyptian tarot. Applying the imagination is possible here. It doesn't really look like it in this card, but it could be applying the imagination. It could be a material temptation being conquered, giving without thought of recompense, choosing after careful consideration, which is interesting because that idea of choice was important just a little while ago in Tiferet with harmony, our beauty, the 2 paths card. Here we have that idea of the Not requirement, not necessity, but the benefit of making a choice. But here, also the material world can dominate the soul if we're not careful. Wasted effort, ebbing of life forces. Yeah, that sacrifice being our life force being bled out a little bit, being possible here. So we want to avoid that. We want to avoid our slitting the neck of our own life force, I believe. But following our creative urges, yes. Applying our imagination, yes. Yeah. So on one side, for our victory, we had doing the work, being responsible, converting weakness into strength. And here, interestingly, in strength and glory, we've got ideas of creative urges, feeling for the creative urges which are stirring in us. Again, an echo of that Ten of Wands card in Chokmah. Other side of the pillar, but still. Conquering our material temptations, but not our enjoyment of the material. Now we conquer, remember that Lover's card, we had those two paths, and on one path there is the woman without a shirt, I keep saying without a shirt on, and that woman without a shirt on can be appraised in different ways. It could be the temptation of the material in a kind of addictive sense, that sense of debauchery. But it could also be the appreciation of the beauty of the material. So we want to avoid, what did I just say? The temptation of the material, the temptation not to appreciate it, but to be engrossed, to be trapped by it. Avoiding the temptation to be trapped by it while still being able to appreciate it. Does that make sense? And so we move into Yesod here, which is 9, the 9th Sephiroth for a foundation, but here we have the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is where we get the echo of Taurus and Venus, because the Ten of Swords points to Taurus. Now the King of Swords, Taurus. Two paths, the Lovers, Venus, which lives in Taurus. Here we have Taurus again as our foundation. A very earthy foundation, right? So the Ten of Swords points to Taurus, which is the domicile of Venus, from which the fixed Earth's vital attributes enter our world. So we've got a lot of fixed Earth coming in through this spread, right? But interesting, some of the possible ways to understand this Ten of Swords are not so happy. Sudden loss of employment. Information revealed leading to practical changes. That could be good or bad, right? Hypersensitivity, demanding, needing control. Venus can be a little bit sensitive in all of her love and joy and joining of things. Venus can be a little bit sensitive. So this card suggests that we adapt to our environment. Because agitation can upset the balance, we want to be stable. We want to move towards that Tauran stability, which we mentioned earlier. Faith helps in times of discouragement, to keep our faith. And says don't abandon, but keep trying. Keep trying. Endeavors lead to reform. And some of our stubbornness, we want to break our stubborn habits here too. So our routine, our habits, our doing the work, our keeping stable are all helpful, but we want to avoid moving into things that become habitual that we cannot break ourselves away from. And all of that is part of this, which is our foundation for manifestation from that, which again, this is all beginning from that Knight of Wands reversed card at the top. Does that make sense? And that Knight of Wands was a little anxious because they were scared. And so we're moving into the solution. And so the solution here was Malkut, which is, where are you? Where are you, Malkut? There you are. It was Malkut, right? Number 10, we have the 11th house. That was kind of funny. Okay, something else that was a little bit funny. Yeah, we had card 6 in the 6th position. We have the 7 of swords in the 7th position. In the 9th position, we have the 10 of swords. In the 10th, we have the 11th house. That was also a little bit funny. Now here, as we move towards the end, we start reaching a little bit to the next one. Yeah, 9 reached to 10. Here, 10 is reaching to 11. Just something I thought was cool. But here, the 11th house introduces a little bit more air to this spread. Now we had water in Scorpio, we had a lot of earth. We had some fire in Sagittarius and Leo and Aries. But we didn't have any, we had the element of air in the Megas, but we didn't have any zodiacal, astrological air in the reading. And here we end with air. But that's interesting, right? Because we had just the element air in Binah, in the 3rd place. And here we are in the 10th place, and we've got air again as the 11th house, which is generally aligned with Aquarius, which is the domicile of Saturn or Uranus. I'm going to go with Saturn. Uranus, your choice. But I'm going with Saturn because I tend to be happiest keeping myself to the 7 classical planets, to the 7 visible lights in the sky. So the planet, the domicile of Saturn, from which these fixed air's vital attributes enter our world. Fixed air. Our thoughts are fixed. We've got them all taken care of. And this is the place of manifestation because thoughts become things, right? This is how we're manifesting. So according to this deck, the 11th house is social interactions. Where are you? Social interactions. We got that idea of social interactions in the 10 of Cups, right? Social interactions. Plans for the future. Finding people to realize our intentions. Now that expanded tribe here becomes helpful here. Unconventionality is echoed here. Yeah, big plans, unconventional dreams, not only unconventional affections, but here, unconventional dreams. Possible if we don't allow social norms to squash them, which is part of the warning about Taurus, which is that our rigidity, our stubbornness could squash this potential. So, treat every person as a potential ally, until, of course, we discover to the contrary. Now, we don't want to be stupid. We don't want to be the foolish ingenue, but we want to be the fool for God. If you can see that distinction. Yeah? The foolish ingenue is everybody is just wonderful and perfect, and no matter, that person said is treating you bad. Well, that person is just beautiful and wonderful. Or the fool for God who loves all and also knows that there are some people with whom they may not want to interact with whom they may not want to interact at any particular time. Now that person, go with the grace of God, but right now we are not a match. The fool for God can do that, can love people out of their lives, if that makes sense. You know? I accept you, I love you, and goodbye. Because what is happening here is not of love, is not of joy, is not of well-being, is not of pure awareness. Now we're able to let people go. And that's part of this, but still we're able to expand our tribe, and we benefit from that in the 11th house. We expand our dreams to the unconventional, and they can be realized as we move down the tree, because that's what this card is for. That's the place this is in. This is in the place of manifestation. Right? Okay, so friends, we're going to read this spread again 3 different ways, kind of. So let me take a pause here, and maybe I'll try and let me throw up that larger image of the whole tree for you right now. You just saw the tree of life again. Did you see that on the left I indicated the mother pillar, and then on the right I indicated the father pillar? That's because we're going to read this spread in 3 different ways, maybe just 2 different ways. You decide how many ways it is. But what I'm going to do is we're going to look at the mother pillar first, which is the pillar of severity, which points down from above. And then we'll look at the father pillar, which is the pillar of mercy, which rises from below, us lifting up our hands to the divine. And then we're going to do a quick pass through the tree once more as we look at the lightning bolt descension of perhaps the water flowing down the tree of life to us. Yeah? So let's start with the mommy. Let's start with the mother pillar. Now, it goes from top to bottom, so we're going to start with Bina to Gebera to Hod, understanding, strength, and splendor. So, this is the light, this is the divine looking down upon us. And we start with the Megas. So the Megas, what do we have? Again, we've got awakening to higher potential, willing embrace of full incarnation and human vitality. So this is where we take our first step into the material realm. We still have our memories of our divine origins, but we're taking our first step and we are full of potential. And full of the knowledge that our thoughts and our feelings are going to create our reality. Yeah? Our mind can pierce through the veil of the physical reality to the divine dancing within, because we still not only know, but we feel, we understand. This is the understanding, right? We understand that we are the divine entering into the world as we move down the pillar of severity. So we understand that, and we get to the 10 of Cups, right? Which is severity and strength. But this is where we can radiate the light through our emotions onto those around us. Yeah? Our unconventional affections can raise those around us up, can uplift others. And as we uplift others, we uplift ourselves as well. We have the potential to heal as well. We can flip that crystallized emotion around and use the laser to do the treatment, to effect treatment of those who are asking for it. And we don't want to impose it on other people. And we want to take care of how we use that laser, but we flip it back around and we can radiate the love of the divine in all of its colors, in all of its diverse colors, diversely, upon a broad range of people. And then we move down to the Hanged Man, right? We went from number 1 with the Magus down to 12, which is right smack dab in the middle of the major arcana. It's not the end of the second group of 7 cards, which is not the Septuagint, not the septenary. Okay, the word's gone for me. But there, we can group the major arcana into 3 sets of 7, right? So the end of the second set of 7 is 14. It's not the end of that. But still, it's right there in the middle of the major arcana. It's like the pause between the first half and the second half. That's one other way of thinking about it. And so what did we get here? Again, it's stirring of our creative urges. As we radiate our love upon others, as we uplift others, as we bring in more diverse kinds of people into our circle, perhaps, yeah, our creative urges are sparked. Our imagination is ignited. Our Our Jupiter in Pisces. Again, now remember, we went from air to Mars in Scorpio to Jupiter in Pisces on the mother pillar, another water card. Yeah, this is it. We become more expansive. We become more generous. We become more emotionally able to hold more, if that makes sense, as Jupiter in Pisces. And we have abundance, we have good fortune with Jupiter radiating through Pisces in this card as well. Now, we can learn and we can teach as Lamed. We can forgive in Pisces. And we can harvest and we can harvest what we have experienced, and we can harvest everything that has come, that has brought us to where we are as Jupiter in Pisces. Does that make sense? So we've gone from the initiatory Magus, just stepping into the material realm, through the 10 of Cups of emotional connectivity and allowing and healing, into this 12 of Jupiter and Pisces of fulfillment of the zodiac, also in fulfillment of the first half of the major arcana, and also giving without thought of recompense. We can begin sharing with others. We can our temptation to the entrapment of the material has been conquered, and our creative urges are reignited. Right? That's in the mother side. As we've come down into the material. And as we are down in the material and we start looking back up again, where do we begin with? We begin with the bottom, which was 7, right? Which is the 7 of Swords, which was the Taurus decadent, the Virgo decadent of Virgo, which is Taurus. And here we start with achievement. Yeah, our work will give us achievement. Our victory through doing hard work, progress, following difficult times, and gain through fulfilling our responsibilities. Yeah? So we start with doing the daily stuff and the success that comes from that. And then we move into what? We moved into the King of Swords. Yeah? So we've gone from the 7, we come to the King with, okay, now we can start enjoying what we have. Enjoy the material resources we have, the money, enjoy the accomplishments we've achieved, perhaps the work that we have done. We can continue enjoying the routine that we have established for ourselves without getting stubborn or locked into it, but still enjoying the routine that we've established and trying to make sure that we benefit from being adaptable. We can go at our own pace too here. We don't have to rush like maybe a Capricorn might. We don't have to work, achieve. Here we can enjoy what we have at our own pace, stable. And that leads us up to a place where we can achieve this, perhaps, where we can be open to receiving that, in the 10 of Wands, we have the 10 of Wands, which was those transcendental ideas that are dormant can now be perhaps realized. Because we are now stable, we're enjoying who we are, where we are, we feel comfortable, we're on top of our game, and we're still, while enjoying what we're doing and keeping our pace, we're also open to shifts and changes. We're learning to be adaptable, we're maintaining our adaptability. And so we have the space to allow those inspirations, those dormant potentials to reveal themselves to us. That's what living the intentional life may be. Yeah, it may be exactly that. So we've gone from the mother pillar down to the earth, and then we started here, and we rose, lifted up our hands in prayer to the divine, to Chokmah, Keth, not Chokmah, to Kether, and we say, show me the path. And the path that is shown to us is rising up through our daily work, then enjoying who we are, and then which creates space for the inspiration. Yeah? And so, here we go with our lightning round. Lightning round. What? Lightning. How do we flow into manifestation through this spread? Just briefly. So we start again with Kether, right? So we start with the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands gives us a recognition that we are sometimes temperamental. We are reactionary. And we're reactionary because maybe we have unrecognized perfectionist tendencies. We are secretly competitive. Because we're insecure, and we're insecure because we're anxious. There are undiscovered anxieties that are perhaps standing in our way, and it's something that we have not to date been aware of because it's up there in Kether, right? So we move down to the Ten of Wands, which is reminding us that yes, that is true, and there is potential there. There are dormant inspirations. There are dormant potentials, both spiritual and motivating potentials, inspirations that are there, just waiting for us to discover them. And so we move into the Magus, which tells us that yes, all we wanted. So yes, get into our heads. We can embrace our divine nature here in these ever newly formed bodies. Recognize that we can understand. This is understanding, right? Our understanding that we would benefit from is that we are the divine having a human experience, and that we can fully embrace our human vitality and our incarnation and realize that our innate potentials are abundant and we can shine them into the world. So we move through Dot, which reminds us that yes, as we shine light on everything that we have been experiencing and everything that we've come to so far, that there are going to be parts in that we are going to perhaps be not so happy with. That's okay. Yeah. There will be decline, as well as there will be waxings and wanings. There will be times when we have missed the mark, and we want to recognize that so that we can perhaps make another choice in the future, but we don't want to look at it to beat ourselves up, right? That is the knowledge of shining the light on the entirety of our experience and our minds as far as we possibly can. That is the next step. And so as we move through that void of knowledge, of shining the light on the entirety of who we are and the experience that we are having, we move into the King of Swords with Venus in Taurus, and we get to the physicality of our being, and we are allowed to enjoy our physical manifestations and the stuff that we've got around us and the things that we're doing and our routines and our stability, and not pushing ourselves, just going at our own pace, right? That is the loving kindness way of the tree, which draws us into a little bit of our severity in Scorpio with Mars, yeah? The potential for hostility, but also the potential of radiating great love in a diversity of love and a diversity of people, and allowing a diversity of people to be part of our experience. As we've come through our comfort and our enjoyment of the physical, here we're radiating the crystallized water and the light of our emotions, of the love that we have on a broad range of people in a rainbow of ways. So there's the ultraviolet way of showing love. There's the infrared way of showing love. There's the love that comes from perhaps each one of the chakras. Now the solar plexus love, the sacral chakra love, the root chakra love, the heart chakra love. Our entire tree is a tree of love as well. And that in Scorpio can radiate through if we keep on the light side. And then we move down into the Seven of Swords, which tells us that yes, we can achieve. Now, progress can, even though we've had those insecurities and fears, we can make progress by doing the work, by allowing positive thoughts and positive mindsets to take the space that might have previously been occupied by more negative, insecure thoughts, which we had not been aware of at the top of the tree. And we move into We move into the Hanged Man, which is splendor and glory, right? By the stirrings of creativity, by the stirrings of imagination, which can draw us farther along the path of our current of intention, which places the new stuff out on the current, on the river of our intention as we follow it. And then we move into the Ten of Swords. Now, the Ten of Swords here is saying, yeah, okay, there could be sudden changes in our experience. Yes, we looked at that in Dot. Yeah? But because we're back in Venus and Taurus, we have the potential to adapt to the environment. And yes, information can lead to practical changes, but we can decide what those changes are. We can move in the direction of the changes that are beneficial for us and are changes that will inspire our joy. And so then we move right into manifestation in the 11th house with social interactions that are uncommon. With finding people outside of our normal comfort zone that we can interact with and will also allow us to realize our intentions. We can have unconventional dreams. We don't have to follow the dreams of society. Our dreams are our dreams, and we can have those dreams. Now, the dream of having the cherry red sports car may not actually be our dream. It could be just a dream that we think we should have because that's what society says is the gold medal, the gold star, the trophy on the shelf, right? What is our real dream? We can realize that in the 11th house. And that is where this tree is leading us, from our potential of reactivity in the Knight of Wands reversed, to the realization of unrealized dreams, which we got that, a hint of that in Binah. In Chokhmah, number 2, with the Ten of Wands reversed. This whole spread is so deep and intricate, and I hope this has made sense to you. If it has, let me know in the comments below. If it hasn't, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think of this spread. Again, I'm going to be doing a dive into this spread next week. I can almost promise you that. So keep an eye out for that. So if you want to get notifications of when I upload videos, be sure that you hit the subscribe button and the alarm bell so you get those notifications. And in the comments below, there will be links so that you can go get these decks. In just a second, there will be a short video which gives you the names of the decks and the creators. So take a look at that. Also, if you want a reading from me, it doesn't have to be this big. I can do this for you, or I can do something small for you, whatever. Send me an email to thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com and we'll get you a reading. The email is in the description box below. So friends, here we are. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for joining me on the restart of my series of talking about living an intentional life. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.